What is up, my friends? How are we? You are very welcome along to tonight's late night agenda, where we are back to normal chat. Everybody who subbed can chat away, and of course we do appreciate your understanding while we were transitioning through that. We're going to make sure that we keep it match day. We're going to have member only chat. So there we go, it's working now. Cool, thank you. Connor, if you're watching, that's working now. We're going to keep it member only on match days, but apart from that, we're going to open up the chat to everybody again to make sure that you can all contribute, be part of the community. So I do understand and appreciate your kindness while I was going through that transitional period, just to make sure the chat got back to where we wanted it to be. So we're going to do our best to keep you guys up to date. And what a day to do it. What a day to open the chat back up. The day Mohamed Salah signs his contract extension with the Reds to keep him here for 2 more years. I'm absolutely buzzing about it. I'm sure you guys are as well. So let me first say, let's kick it off by dropping a like on the stream. You gotta love the king staying, right? We're going to wonder and talk about when we might hear the announcement from Virgil van Dijk, and hopefully that's very soon. I'm going to get straight into the news after I play you a very, very quick ad. It's the only one of the whole 90-minute stream, so bear with me while we have a little word from our sponsor, Surfshark, and then I promise you I'll be back and we'll get stuck into it. This video is sponsored by Surfshark, the best VPN on the market. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to change your location to access websites in other countries and keep you safe from hackers. For example, we here in Ireland can access other countries' Netflix libraries, streaming services such as DAZN in Spain for those all-important Premier League games. Surfshark keeps you safe and private by protecting everything you do online. When your device connects to the internet, all that information is, in a way, blurred out. Surfshark is particularly useful for keeping you safe if you use public Wi-Fi, such as a college or a cafe. Surfshark allows you to use one subscription on unlimited devices, meaning that you can even share an account with friends and family. On top of this, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you don't like it, you can even get your money back. Our sign-up offer gives you Surfshark VPN for just over €2 per month and up to 4 months free. Why not scan the QR code on screen or use the link in the description to take advantage of this offer. Right folks, we are back, and thank you for your patience, and thank you of course to our incredible sponsor Surfshark. I've got a couple of super chats I need to bring up early doors, so don't worry folks, I haven't forgotten. First one up comes in from Matthew, and it said, "It's crazy. Today's football. Salah rejects Saudi money and extends with Liverpool. Full loyalty. He chose legacy over cash. That puts him up there with Steven Gerrard." Mo, yes, Mo's eyes during his Anfield interview. It's an amazing day, mate. I'm honestly buzzing for Mo. And I love the throne that they gave him in the centre of Anfield as well. So, great day. And thank you, mate, for your super chat. Appreciate you, Marcus. Next one up comes in from Sonny, and Sonny said, "That's it after today. I've decided to name my future child Mohamed Salah." There you go, my man. I mean, why not? Why not? It's good a name as any. So thank you, and thank you for your super chat, Sonny. Appreciate you. Mark said, "So busy news day, I hear somebody is signed." Yeah, a certain Egyptian fella I heard. He's coming. He's not too bad as well, this lad, Mark. So, yeah, happy days all around in that one. Right, yes, the chat is back, said David. Thank you, David. Glad to have you back in, my man. How are you, Craig, you legend? How are we feeling today? Because I'm buzzing. Abdullah, I'm buzzing, my man. Same as yourself. I love the way Liverpool fans were wondering, because it's the 11th of April, 11-4, where we're going to get the double contract announcement today, because, of course, they are Mohamed Salah and Virgil van Dijk's numbers. But we did find out fairly early in the day that it would just be the Virgil van Dijk contract we'll be waiting on. It would be Mohamed Salah's that was being announced today. So quite quickly, because I think Dave O.C. Copper, one of the accounts, posted to say, "Oh, Virgil's at midday," and James Pearce said, no, you're wrong on that one, and it hasn't been announced, so we'll get it soon, so no need to worry about that one. Jen, thank you for gifting 5 memberships, my friend. Really, really appreciate that. That is very kind of you. Donald Moran said, "Thanks, Craig, for letting us back." Look, it shouldn't have ever had to happen, Donald. And again, it wasn't a decision we took lightly to make the chat member only. We are going to keep it member only on a match day, but, you know, it felt unfair. And I hated doing it, but I needed to protect myself for a little bit. And how, hopefully, we're back in and we've got everybody where we want them to be, back home where you guys all belong. And I do appreciate your understanding, sincerely do. And apologies to anybody who was frustrated by it, but you're back now. We're back, baby. We're back. And so is Mo. So look, there's so much news to get through around Mo today. But I loved a thing from Melissa Reddy that kind of spoke about the whole journey for Mo. Melissa wrote, when you were doing 4-hour journeys each way, 5 days a week to get to training and back via multiple buses, age 14, then you leave your country and everything you know at age 19 to move to Europe alone to make it, it matters when you find belonging, a home, appreciation and understanding. Mohamed Salah staying at Liverpool and his unwavering desire to do so is more than just a professional and football-based decision. He found his place, his people, his purpose. So did his family. That's peace. That is beautiful from Melissa Reddy. Absolutely beautiful. That is what a real journalist does, ladies and gentlemen. That is what we credit journalists for. Great work like that. We call them out when we need to, but I thought Melissa's piece there was beautiful. Absolutely top notch. And it just gives you a flavour of the journey Mo's gone through to get to where he is. And it was so clear today in any interviews or any quotes you've seen from Mo, what it meant to his family to stay here. His daughters are Scousers at this point, you know, and they have their friends, their family, their schooling. And it really shone through that it was never in his mind to do anything other than stay. And that was great. And that's why he'll go down in the legacy books. Trent, take note. Craig, I was on my phone looking at the subscriptions, including you, and I tapped on LFC due to an early upload and seen him on the throne, and I knew. Good man, good man. He looked great on the throne as well. It really looked cool. And you could see just unwavering happiness on Mo's face today, and that's what it was all about. So we believe that at the very least he's on the same money, because there's been a few bits of different communication around it today. Chris Bascom said he's either on 20 or 25 million a season, so it's either 380 a week or 480 a week, but either way, the great man hasn't had to take a pay cut anyway, so we're all good in that regard. Look at these images. Connor's given me some images to share with you, so let's put this one up on screen first. This is my favourite image of the day, by the way. One sec, let me just drag this one down for you. This is my favourite image of the day. The story continues. Mohamed Salah sitting there in front of the main stand looking absolutely magnificent. And here's another great image for you of the day. 1 second. Get another one up for you here to enjoy. I love looking at the photos when they're captured on days like today. And here is another one of the great man. Look at that one. On his throne, signing his contract and just looking happy and at peace and comfortable where he is. Congratulations, Mo. A very well-deserved contract extension and 2 more years at the club for, well, one of the greatest to ever do it. Do you reckon Isak will join us in the summer? So, Joanna, I keep going back and forth on Isak, right? One day I'm saying to myself, absolutely no chance in hell. It's not happening. No way, no how. And then I'll see an article, but not an article linking Liverpool with him, more an article suggesting that Newcastle fans could be a bit concerned. And that makes me think. But off the top of my head, no, honestly, I don't expect him to come in. But if he does, how cool would that be? Right, couple more super chats. Jonesy lad, thank you, my friend. My lad Ollie was bouncing before going to school. Love that, love that. And do say hello to Ollie for us as well. Love seeing the young lads happy like that, and the young ones as well, going into school delighted with themselves. So do say hello to Ollie for us. And also this one, membership chat. Thank you, Steve. Really appreciate you, sir. Said, we think 5 out, 3 in, 2 Bournemouth players and Hugo. Well, really interesting you mentioned that, because I'm very intrigued to see what is going to happen. I'm getting more and more confident in Liverpool's pursuit of Hoyson as the days and weeks go by. I've seen a lot of stuff today to suggest we are in, and we're in strong for Dean Hoyson from Bournemouth. So let's wait and see. Very few clubs could afford Isak, said Pedals. Connor done a very good job letting us know about Salah. Thank you, Mary. I was about to bring that one up. And yeah, I bet you all didn't know what was going on, right? And me and Connor found this funny because everybody would have known that wasn't me. Apart from the fact I wasn't on the thumbnail, everybody would have known that there's no way Craig's up that early recording a video. Even I was surprised. So I woke up, looked at my phone, seeing the notifications and thinking, we've put out a video? Huh? And then I seen Connor, and fair play. I love that Connor does these things. He's getting more and more comfortable doing it as well. So thank you for all the lovely messages of support for Connor as well. It's it speaks to the man's confidence, you know. He feels more comfortable doing it, which is good to see. But I felt like I had to come on and give my thoughts then as well after I was up. So thank you to Connor for breaking that news for us nice and early. I think Mo is more of a scouser than Trent, said Badruddin. What's your take on DIJK? He looked great but lacks a little bit of aerial ability and a little bit of speed on the shots. But one thing I found quite intriguing is his ability to place a shot, said Tactical Galactico. He scored a really good goal against Spurs. I mean, that was very impressive. The finish and the I guess just to take and carry the ball that far and then finish it. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm an expert on Hugo. Far from it, my man. But I do strongly get the feeling, like if I was to take a guess, and I want to say this is a guess, but if I was to start naming players I think we may get, Kirkes, Huijsen, Hugo. I'm not sure on right back. I really am. And there's been a few new names mentioned there. But they're the type of players that I think are realistic for us. Now, Arsenal's name have come into the mix for Kirkes as well. I don't know if we've already got the work done on that one, but I don't think we're going to be on our own looking to bring him in. I've seen lots of talk of 40 million there. So I guess the question I want to ask everybody around the Huijsen contract or that situation is, I'm starting to hear a little bit of concern that Canade might depart this summer. You know, even in the David Ornstein wording of one of his posts, which I'll go through in a while, it kind of leaves me a little bit unnerved about what might be happening there. Stevie boy, how are you, bro? Said, respect to both Mo and Verge, who could have left for more money, instead opting to stay and win trophies, unlike Trent, who chose Jude. Well, I guess I got to caveat that by saying, as of right now, Stevie boy, we still don't really know what's happening with Trent, do we? We assume, and you're probably right, to be fair, but maybe, just maybe, he changes his mind. But you know what I wonder? If he did say he wanted to stay now, would the pool of money be there for him? Because it would be a weird situation if Trent said he wanted to stay now and then everybody starts to get that news and then all of a sudden we hear, but that will impact summer transfer business. I think Liverpool fans will be a little bit freaked out, and understandably so. So look, yeah, I don't know what's going on with Trent, but Mo and Virgil definitely chose legacy, definitely chose continuing the project with Liverpool, and we're very grateful for that. Pontus said, we got Salah, do 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 do. No, man. Yeah, I was singing that all day, going around the house, mate, singing we got Salah. Definitely, and thank you, Pontus, appreciate you. Marcus, how are you, dude? Said, I think this Salah extension also indicates a good summer, since Salah also trusts the process that Liverpool will still continue winning trophies. Absolutely. Look, do you want me to go through some of the reports from today about Salah signing, or are you all Salah'd out? I mean, I don't want to start reading out lots and lots of posts from the day if you've already seen and read them all, but I mean, I could talk about this for 10 hours, to be honest with you. Anthony Jimenez, welcome, my man. Welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. So let's give you a flavour of some of the posts in case you haven't seen them. So, this one from Ben Jacobs said, Liverpool always sensed extending Salah would take time. The club's strategy, driven by Edwards, is to make strong decisions based on evidence and data. They tried to look at big internal decisions dispassionately. Liverpool had to be certain they would continue to get an elite output. Well, I think we've seen this season that Mo is still delivering. Now, yes, he's had a tail off, but this isn't an age thing. We've seen this tail off from Mo at this time of the year previously. Melissa Reddy said that she spoke to Paris Saint-Germain executives about Mohamed Salah signing for them, and they said it would be pointless to try because he only wants Liverpool. He really, really loves this club, and it means so much to the fan base to know that. Like, this man had the world at his feet this summer. Could have left Liverpool and taken his choice to go to any club in the world. Could have chased the riches in Saudi, but stayed here because he knows he's a club legend. He knows he's got unfinished business, and he knows he's got more records to be breaking. A bit of confusion, as I mentioned, from Chris Bascom around the transfer, or the wages, excuse me. Mo Salah's new terms are understood to be worth around 25 million per season, said Chris Bascom, but there's also a report that said 20. So either way, he hasn't taken a pay cut. We can say that 100%. Ismail Mahmoud, who was the Egyptian journalist who mentioned about Mohamed Salah agreeing those fresh terms a couple of weeks back, said Salah loves the work with Arne Slot. That played an important role. Paul Joy said Mohamed Salah has agreed a 2-year contract extension to stay at Liverpool and extend his Anfield association to a decade. The deal was confirmed this morning by the club after months of negotiations between the player, his agent Rami Abbasissa, and between Liverpool sporting director Richard Hughes. Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk will also extend his contract and sign for 2 years. So when we get that Virgil van Dijk announcement, I'm not certainly sure, but it is coming. Fabrizio Romano, speaking about Virgil, said Virgil van Dijk will sign his new deal at Liverpool, valid until 2027, very soon. Agreement done. All details of the contract have been sealed, also approved by the lawyers, and VVD will put pen to paper before the end of the season. Happy days. Happy days. Right, let me get to this one. JCDC said, hey Craig, buzzing with the news this morning. A win on Sunday and a Van Dijk announcement in the next few days, and we're in dreamland. Mate, I'm expecting big things on Sunday now. Just recorded the preview, which is going to be out tomorrow lunchtime, but I'm expecting a big game. I'm expecting Mo to get back on the score sheet. I'm expecting Anfield to be absolutely raucous and up on its feet as well, celebrating the new deals for the boys. And most importantly, 3 points hopefully against West Ham. I think we're better off if Trent moves on. You, Craig? Do you know what? I'm not going to say we're better off, Devon, and thank you, mate, for your membership with us as well. I'm not going to say we're better off, but in the short term, of the 3 boys whose contracts are up, he's certainly the one that I'm the least fussed about losing. I know that's probably short-term thinking, but Virgil and Mo were so important to stay, to make sure that we can continue to challenge. Trent going, I mean, I'd rather he stayed. No, I'm not going to rewrite history, I would, but having Conor Bradley there and knowing that the club are going to bring in another right back, that makes me feel a bit calmer about it. Yeah, so honestly, not arsed is probably the fairest way I can say it. And of course, I don't mean that at you, my friend, but about the situation, I kind of just got fed up with the whole Trent thing, to be honest, and his lack of coming out and saying anything about it has wound me up. So I'll just sit back and wait and see what happens. But either way, these 2 are the ones that make me feel far more confident now that we can actually try our best and go into next season hoping we can retain this Premier League title. Danny said, been dragged out for way too long but made up. Our captain and talisman are staying. Let's make sure we do the business this summer and kick on. Well, that's what we're going to move on to talk about in a couple of moments, is the summer and the window, because some things are starting to come a bit clearer. Super chat in here from Brian said, just want to say thank you for your content. It got me through hard times when I was in hospital in January and just wanted to say thank you. Brian, firstly, I hope you're okay, my man. I don't know what you were in hospital for. I can imagine it was difficult for you. But I'm always really humbled, mate, when I hear these type of things, because you guys mean the world to me. And the community means the world to me. And whatever impact I've had in your lives, maybe whatever, how small it is, I want you to know that that's reciprocated from me. Because the impact you guys have on my life and gotten me through some really dark and difficult times in my life is something I'll never forget. So thank you. I really appreciate it, but you really have no need to ever thank me, Brian. It's a pleasure to be able to do this each and every day and chat with you guys. But I hope you're back on the road to recovery, my man. And thank you so much for your kind words. What's your opinion on Núñez? He's gone. I mean, do you know what? I say that, I'm going to be honest with you, ahead of the preview tomorrow. I have Núñez to start in my predicted 11 because he's not going to play Chiesa. I'd play Chiesa. Some of you guys might play Chiesa. But I sat there and I thought about it. Darwin or Jota, and right now, I feel Darwin is a better fit. genuinely. I'm finding it very difficult to be optimistic about Diogo Jota these days because he just doesn't look the same. I know he scored a good goal, but that aside, he's looked bang average. And when we've needed an outball or when we've needed a forward to run the channel, hold it up, he's just not that type of player. So I'd give it to Darwin and maybe bring Jota on at the end. But my opinion is, Oisín, that he's going to be sold this summer. No idea where to or how much for, but I'm hoping that we get it sorted out as quick as possible. Roger was busy with exams, missed the great vibes. Well, I hope the exams went well, my man, and welcome back in. Do you know what? I'm going to be honest. I was a bit nervous about tonight's stream because I didn't know what to expect from the chat. But I'm so glad to see so many familiar names back in as well. And I'm just excited to be here having a chat with you guys and so excited about what the season has in store. Now, I want to just let everybody know once again about our live shows. If you want to come and see us and join us for the celebrations, either on the last day of the season or on Wednesday, the 28th of May, 3 days later, you can get your tickets to come and see us with that QR code on the screen or the link in the description of the video. I can't wait. What a day that's going to be over in Liverpool. I'm hoping I have that Premier League trophy with me as well. We've ordered a full-size replica resin model of it, so we're hoping we can bring that with us and let everybody have a bit of fun with a Premier League trophy. Good times ahead, thank God, said Eli Woods. Do you reckon Jota will leave, and do you think Alvarez will replace him, said Joanna. I'm unsure what to expect in the forward line, Joanna. And we spoke about this a few times on the streams as well, because let's be honest about this, right? Right now, our forward options are Mohamed Salah, who's absolutely not going anywhere, thank God. I'm really happy to say that. After that, Cody Gakpo, also not going anywhere. But that's where it ends, the certainty for me. Diogo Jota, Darwin Núñez, Luis Diaz, Federico Chiesa. I think all of their careers are up in the air at the minute. And I'm not saying I want them all out, but you could see a world where any of those four would be sold. So I'm intrigued to see what the plan is and exactly who the club are going to be moving on. I expect 2 forwards to go this summer. Whether that's Darwin and Jota, Darwin and Diaz, Darwin Chiesa, I don't know. But that's kind of where my head's at with it. Sunil, thank you, my friend. Much appreciated. Dylan Briggs. Let me get this up for you, Dylan. Would you suspect that Mo and Verge might have an option of a third year in their deal? I haven't seen any mention of it at all, to be honest with you. I haven't. Look, there's every possibility the club have an option for a third year in that deal, but, you know, I would imagine if there is an option in there that it will be the club's option to trigger and not the players. Mark Bell said Alvarez would cost us about 100 million, so I don't think he is a possibility. No, we like Alvarez. There's no denying that. But he's only gone to Atleti a year ago, and they paid like 95 million euro or something like that for him, so I can't see a world where they want to sell him that quickly. There's been some talk actually about Fermin Lopez. I mentioned it in last night's video. Lots of reports coming out of Spain to suggest that he is considering his Barcelona future. The other club linked apart from us with him was Atleti, but the report last night said that he much prefers the idea of coming to Liverpool over Atletico Madrid, so keep your eye on that situation as well. Right, Braden, thank you, my man, for your super chat. Said, if you had to sell 4 and buy 4 this summer, who would it be? Also, very happy with the contract news. Much love from me and my mom, Amy. Well, say hello to your mum, Amy, for me, and thank you, Braden, for your question and for your super chat, my friend. To answer it, so, do you want me to be really brutally honest? I know people sometimes think I go overboard, but I'm going to be brutally honest and tell you who I'd sell. If Canade doesn't agree a deal less than the 200 grand a week he's apparently asking for, I'd be selling him this summer. I'd sell one of Kwanzaa or Gomez. So we bring in 2 centre-backs in my eyes. Left back, I'd sell Costas and I'd bring in Kirkez. Up top, I'd sell Darwin. And look, the smart money I think is on Hugo Ekitike at the minute. And apart from that, I really wouldn't know. But it's the centre-back situation that fascinates me. And the Canade situation, whilst I know everybody's going to say, we can't sell him, Craig, we can't sell him, Craig, we can't sell him, Craig. Remember, this is going to come down to whether there's a deal agreed or not. Because you can't let him go into another season with the contract not being extended. So, with that in mind, one of David Ornstein's posts kind of caught my eye today. Let me read this one out to you. Where's the one from? Nope, not that one. So many stories. So he said Liverpool have a strong interest in Hoyson and they're definitely in the mix. Okay, it was this one. He said, I think given the Canade contract situation, you only, if somebody like Hoyson came in, I know he's only 19, but we've seen the quality that he possesses for Bournemouth and the Spain national team. I think he would start alongside Van Dijk. So we'll see. That got me thinking. Well, do we think the club are going to cash in on Canade? Genuinely. Let me know your thoughts on that one, because I wouldn't be looking to do it. Like, I like Ibu. I really do. But it'll come down to whether Kwanzaa moves on or not for me. Like, I don't know who Arne Slot rates. We know Canade and Van Dijk are the starting centre-back pairing. But I don't know after that. Kwanzaa hasn't really been given too many chances this season. Gomez will probably want to go in search of football. And Canade will have 1 year to go. And if the club can't agree there, something has to happen. So I'm a little bit confused as to what to expect at centre-back. So let me know what you guys think will happen at centre-back. And I'm going to spend the next couple of minutes reading through your comments on this, because I'm truly confused by it. George said, Craig, love the channel. Hope Chiesa gets game time. He can be a fantastic player. Give the man a chance. I agree. It's astounding to me that Chiesa hasn't been given more opportunities. Craig, I can't afford to be a member. Absolutely understandable, Oisin. No problem. But tonight, as you've seen, we've reverted back to everybody can chat as long as you're subscribed. The only time we're going to go to member-only chat is on match days. And that's for obvious reasons, because that's the day that the chat is worst impacted by, well, trolling and just negative people. So from now on, every other live stream, the chat will be back to normal. So you don't need to worry about that. And I do appreciate your understanding. Craig, if you don't mind me asking what happened between you and James Pearce. Nothing. No idea. I think you're confused there. I've had no fallout with James Pearce that I'm aware of. Haven't had any contact or communication with James Pearce either. So I think you're getting confused maybe about somebody else. But nothing with James Pearce and me, mate, that I'm aware of anyway. Sell Canade and Gomez and then boy Gay and Hoyson. That's an interesting shout. I've set myself up for frustration this summer because I'm now convincing myself that we're signing Dean Hoyson. I'm absolutely convincing myself it's happening. The other centre-back situation, Gay is an interesting one, because a couple of reports this week have suggested that Palace are going to have to sell him because of his contract situation. And the report that I read said that he doesn't really fancy the idea of going to Newcastle, that he would rather a club that he feels can challenge for top honours, and Liverpool's name were mentioned. So the only thing I can tell you is the last time we spoke about this situation, I was getting told he wasn't dominant aerially enough to be considered, but maybe that's changed because the price tag's changed. Kenny, thank you, my man, for gifting 5 memberships. That is really, really kind of you, Kenny. Thank you. Do you think we need a proper number 10? I think Arne thinks we do, Natty. And that's why I'm worried about the situation with Harvey, because Harvey seems to be not convincing the manager. And again, I think it was Melissa already mentioned that he could be sold this summer. So if he's sold this summer, then I would expect us to bring in a more attacking midfielder. Glad to be in the chat, Craig, said Carson Welch. What a day to be a Liverpool fan. It's brilliant, mate. It's brilliant. Caden, said, Ibu's only worth 150 to 175k per week, in my opinion. Hand on heart, mate. I want Ibu to stay. But he's not worth 200 grand a week. I can't get past that. Like, that's Virgil van Dijk money. And Virgil van Dijk is one of, if not the best centre-back in Premier League history. And he's not on that level. So, for me, if that's a hard number for Canada and he won't move on it, then if I'm Liverpool, I'm looking to sell him. Because he's not worth 200 grand a week. Because he's not the finished article. Has he improved? Yes. But he still has mistakes in him. He still has misjudgments in him. And he still has moments where he's very frustrating. Now, this season we've seen a lot of improvement in the muscle injuries with Ibu. But I have to say, I don't want the club giving him 200 grand a week because I don't think he's there yet. You know, he's on 80. 140, 150 seems more than enough. But I guess, you know, we'll find out very soon on this one because the club won't let it drag on throughout the whole summer because they're going to want certainty and then need to sell. They can't let him go for free. Love you, lad. Thanks you, Nay. Nay, it's really kind of you, mate. Thank you. Somebody said Gibbs White as a number 10. The only club I've realistically seen him linked to was City. And they were talking about him. They were talking about the kid from Florian Wirtz as well as a potential replacement for De Bruyne. But, you know, again, I've heard that Liverpool aren't in that mix for Gibbs White anyway. Oshin said, I think it's time we invested in an expensive centre-back. You're trying to get booted out straight away, Oshin, with the Maguire and Onana stuff. I mean, yeah, this is the type of stuff that frustrates me, mate. Yeah, haha, funny. Maguire and Onana are both shy, as we know. Been watching for a while. This is my first chat. Loving the show. Thank you, Christine. Appreciate your support. Sunil, how are you, sir? Said LFC said Salah had extended beyond 24-25. Salah said hopefully he makes 8 years to 10. Does this mean they could potentially sell Salah in 2026 for a fee? I doubt we'd let him go. He signed a 2-year deal. I think the easiest way to put this to you, Sunil, would be don't think about whether Liverpool would sell him or not. What I can say to you is Mohamed Salah won't allow himself to be sold. And he would have signed on expecting to see these 2 years out. And I'm sure the club expect Mo to be here for the 2 years. Then we see what happens after that. But we won't be selling him in a year. This wasn't one of those look after ourselves. Because, again, like Rami Abbasisa apparently told the club previously, he won't be getting sold when he gets to the last year of his deal. So I wouldn't worry about it in that regard. But look, just enjoy the 2 years we know we have now. And let's see how far up those goal scoring charts he can go. Cal, how are you, bro? Said, Craig, do you think Mo Verge may have positive inklings about our summer signings? I've chosen to stay on the promise of the club being ambitious. Absolutely. I've no doubt that they would have spoken to Arne and they would have been somewhat reassured. Everything that we've seen today suggests both lads are really happy with Arne. So yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying they know the transfer business. I have no idea about that, but certainly they must feel the club are going in the right direction. I know what. Oh, you're talking about Lynch, Andre. Look, what happened is he decided he didn't want to work with us anymore. Then he didn't like a couple of Twitter posts being called out. Then he starts calling me the C word, threatening the police, and all this other stupidly weird, childish bullshit stuff. So, if it's all right, mate, don't worry about it, because I'm not giving him a second thought. So, yeah, let's not get into it. The he said, she said. Ultimately, his arrogance will be his own undoing, and fuck him, leave him, just move on with it, you know. I've drawn a line. Journalism is on this side, and me and fan content's on this side, and I'm going to just keep on this side. Rob said, Craig, first of all, I love your channel. I love your honesty and your honest take about Liverpool Football Club, and of course my favourite club as well. Thank you, Rob. I don't deserve the support I get on here, mate. I never understand it, but I really, really appreciate such kind words, mate. Thank you. And I hope you continue to enjoy the channel. All right, Oshin, man. All good. I didn't realise it was a joke. I thought you were trolling a bit, but all good, Oshin. Nothing to worry about, bro. Nothing to worry about. Thank you for your message there. Right. I've so much news to get through. Here's a very interesting one, right? So, the CIES Football Observatory, using statistical data and other important factors, such as how long his contract still holds, have placed Isak's fair price, is what they've described it, in the region of £72 to £92 million, which is still a hefty sum to part ways with for one individual. So the analysts, the data boys at the CIES Football Observatory, have looked at his age, his contract length, and everything, and deemed that Isak's market value is somewhere between 70 and 90 million quid. So that's why the 150 million quid makes absolutely no sense to me or most other people. And I think that's probably about right, in all honesty. I think Isak probably is a 70 to 100 million striker at most. So I understand Liverpool not wanting to get into a situation where all our eggs are in that basket. Especially if the asking price is as high as it looks like it is. Jason said you deserve every ounce of support. I don't, mate. I'm just a normal dude. But you know, I'm grateful for it, as I always say. Would you ever go on Soccer Saturday on Sky Sports? I've no interest in going on the TV stuff, to be honest, mate. People who do that tend to look for fame, and I've no interest in fame, which sounds ironic because I run a YouTube channel, but I can't be bothered. Like, I know so many people who take whole days off, fly over, take trains, go on these shows for a few minutes. I couldn't be bothered with any of it. I want to be here with you guys talking about the club the way we want to, when we want to, how we want to, and being able to say what I want to say. So no interest. I'm happy here where I am. And the day this stops, the day I stop, I have no interest in the TV stuff or anything. Muno's replacement for Trent, what do you think? Well, there's been lots of right-backs actually linked. The Freiburg right-back was again in the news today, being linked with a move to Liverpool. I'm not sure what to expect on the right-back situation, in all honesty. I expect Trent's going to go, but I'm not sure what type of right-back to expect. You know, is it going to be somebody who's 26, 27, a steady hand in case Bradley's not there? Or is it going to be another young, hungry right-back to fight with Conor Bradley for the starting berth? It'll be an interesting one to see what happens. Darren Lindsay, thank you so much. Keep up the good work. Love what you're doing. Appreciate that, Darren. Thank you, my friend. Hope you have a lovely weekend. What about Aina on a free for right back? So I wanted to address this one actually, Susie. So thank you for bringing it up. Aina isn't going to be on a free. I know his contract is up, but Nottingham Forest have the option to extend that by a year, and I'm absolutely certain that they will, particularly if they get themselves Champions League football. So yeah, look, it's an exciting one, and I did look into this, but there is there is a mechanism to trigger another year in his contract, and I'm almost certain that they're going to do that. I mean, why wouldn't they? He's been a fantastic player for them this season. Dara, Craig, you're a gentleman and my idol. Well, look, I'm a nice guy. I am, but I have my moments, mate. I can be a cranky SOB as well, but I appreciate you. Geertrude from Leipzig and has worked with Slot as well. Look, if we wanted Geertrude, I think we would have brought him in, Mohammed, previously. I'm actually surprised he didn't make the move to the Premier League, in all honesty, mate, because there was a couple of clubs that were mentioned with him, not just us. So, yeah, maybe. Craig, what if Trent pulled a big switcheroo right at the end of the season? What if he told Madrid to go F themselves? I've always wanted to stay at Liverpool and sign for another 6 years. Happy days then, Rob. But, you know, I wonder now, is the money there? because we know the club has allocated quite a big pot of money now to Virgil and Mo. So look, let me say, if I was in the club's position and Trent started to backtrack, then I'd be lowballing him. And I'm not even joking about that. So let's say Trent turned around tomorrow and said, I want to stay. Well, then I'm offering him 220 to 250. That'll be the deal on the table for me. Because I guarantee you, the second he signs for Real Madrid, right? I promise you can timestamp this, clip it, do whatever you want. When he signs for Real Madrid, watch the amount of stories that come out talking about it being less money than he was offered at Liverpool, talking about it was only ever Real Madrid, that once they came to the table, he only had eyes for them. You will see a revisionism like you haven't seen before. I'm telling you that'll happen. And that's always annoyed me, because I've always felt like there were two numbers. There was a number for Madrid and a number for us, and that the number for Madrid is going to be lower than the number for us. And also, fuck Real Madrid and their destabilising tactics. Sincerely. If they have really done this to Trent and dragged him through 2 years, running down his contract to shaft his hometown club, then honestly the whole lot of them can do one, because that's snidey. I mean, I read out the stuff yesterday from Paddy Pimblett calling Trent a lizard and saying that basically he was lying about wanting to stay, captain the club, win trophies at the club. I'm just pissed off by the whole situation about it. Just really, really wound up by it, and I just want it to be over. And for me, he doesn't get on the pitch again this season. Bradley plays every game between now and the end of the season, and Trent can do one. That's genuinely how I feel about it. Just fed up of it. What's this? You know? What was that about? Who was that to? Trent not signed deal as yet. He'll do so when the season is finished. Yeah, like a coward. And that's the coward's way of doing it. And I mean that sincerely. If that's what happens, that is the biggest cowardly cop-out you've ever seen. Am I wrong? Like, if he skulks out at the end, lets the season finish, and then it's off to Real Madrid, that is absolute... is shocking. How hard is it to sit in front of a camera and explain your decision? How hard is it? It'll endear you to people more if they understand your thought process. But dragging this out and playing with people's emotions, that's not somebody who's trying to be respectful of the club that they've been at for 20 years to me. It is his career and he's 100% free to do what he wants. But he isn't free from consequence of the actions. He isn't free from the feedback. Now these footballers, sometimes I feel like they need a dose of reality. Because when you're talking about a top player like Trent, a talent who's come through, they've had their whole career with people blowing smoke up their arse, and PR agents and their own agents telling them how loved they are, how great they are, what an icon they are, how inspirational they are. But as soon as they want to chase more money, we're not supposed to be able to call out the bullshit and all those years of manipulation and all the I want to captain the club stuff. So for me, footballers, they should be held accountable. If you make money and endear yourself to a fan base and sell yourself as this hometown hero only to skulk off for free to the club that is the antithesis of everything Liverpool are about, that's awful to me. You know, sit in front of a damn camera and pay the fans the respect they've paid you over the years and tell them that you want to try something new. Tell them that it was a difficult decision. But saying nothing is just shocking. And I said this 3-6 months ago, and people were telling me I was being too harsh. But I'm telling you, it's the coward's way of doing it. And whoever's advised them has absolutely made a massive mess out of this whole situation. By protecting them, they haven't protected them. All they've done is rile up people who feel wound up and manipulated and ask them what this is. And, it's a problem of their own making. I feel the 2021-22 Premier League final day pain will be erased this year if we win the league. Need to win the European Cup next year to heal the Champions League final we dominate in 2022. Then Mo and Virgil can go into the sunset. Oh, I'd love another one. For me, defending the Premier League's priority number one next season, because then there's no listening to any of the little Arsenal fans or any of the other little begrudgers who tried to say, oh, it was a COVID title, it was a PGMOL title, it was this, it was that. Let's go win it again next year. And then what will they say? It's the second worst ever Premier League season. Ram it back down their throats. That's my answer to it. And feck them. All of them. Is there anybody in the chat, by the way, who's still holding out hope there for Trent to stay? Because I had a brief moment of it the other day myself where I thought, oh, maybe he will stay. Maybe it is possible. But remember, like, Robbie Fowler's theory has kind of come good, where he wondered, did the club, have the two boys pretty much good to go and then wait to see what happens with Trent? Jason said, many people jumped to the same transfer conclusion when they saw photos of Jude and Trent hanging out together a year or two ago, and now there could be a transfer but the other way around. Yep. And also, didn't Bellingham do this at Dortmund and then pissed off to Madrid? Kieran still has some hope maybe that he stays. Mike said he's got 10% hope. Braden said absolutely not. I wasn't until I saw him liking Salah's post. Well, that's just a common courtesy thing to do. He has to like Salah's post. I mean, how do you go into the changing room the next day and have not liked the lad's post? I mean, I wouldn't read too much into that. Craig, what's a lizard? Some type of snake. How would you describe a lizard? Like a baby, tiny little dinosaur-esque type thing, like a gecko, something along those type of lines. Basically, a reptile is probably the fairest way to say it. And basically, he's calling him a snake. Yes. Right, let's talk. I'm going through my notes real quick. Let's talk Bryan Mbeumo for a second, because Manchester United, according to Gimme Sport, have shifted their transfer focus to Bryan Mbeumo from Brentford, who's also wanted by Arsenal and Liverpool. And that's one of the first things that I've actually seen mentioning us as a potential destination for Bryan Mbeumo. I'd happily have Bryan Mbeumo at Liverpool, but let's wait and see. Any trust on the Raw links? I'm wondering why all of a sudden we've been linked, Mohammed, with 3 different players from Freiburg over the last week. It's kind of like we must have sent scouts over and they must have been seen there, and then people are kind of putting 2 and 2 together, because we've been linked with a right back, a winger and a midfielder, I think, from Freiburg this week. So truth is, mate, I don't know. I hope Trent has seen the Pimlet video. Well, I'll read out to you the exact wording of what he said in that video. So I still have it in my notes from yesterday. So this is what Mr. Paddy Pimlet had to say about Trent. He said, he's a lizard. He's forgot where he's come from. He's meant to be a young lad from West Derby. I'd trade my career in a heartbeat to have his, to win trophies for my city, my team that I've supported all my life. What I'd do for that, the money he's earning, the money he's been offered, just putting a smile on everyone's face in the city. I grew up wanting to be Stevie G, Fernando Torres, Luis Suarez. He's just leaving the club that he grew up and supported and has been there for him his whole life to be a cog in the machine at Madrid. He could have been a legend at Liverpool, always said he wanted to be captain, so he was always lying, wasn't he? I think he's forgot where he's came from. He's taken away the chance to be a legend and maybe get a statue built in his honour. Now he's going to be forgotten about. So I'm going to ask, on the first poll of tonight, do you agree with what Mr. Paddy Pimblett had to say? So let me just get this one. And then we'll get Mr. Roberticus. I'll get to your super chat, bro, in 1 second. Sorry, bear with me, folks. Right, so I'm going to ask, do we agree with Paddy Pimblett? Yes or no? And we'll see how people are feeling about it. Just in the Woods, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, my man. Appreciate you. Mr. Roberticus, as promised, mate. Hey, Craig, I'm so happy about Mo and Virgil. So am I. Absolutely buzzing. Like, we knew it was coming, but it's still good to see this thing officially signed off and to see all the images. Like, again, here's a couple of the images from today's signings. I mean, there's Mo in his throne, signing the contract, and of course, there's Mo again, just looking happy and relaxed. On top of that, this is my favourite picture of the day as well. The story continues. Mohamed Salah sitting there in front of the main stand, just looking like a boss. David said, evening, Craig. Just came in. Can you give me a little bit of a news update, please? In a bit, David. We're just kind of floating through it bit by bit, my man. So far, we've really been speaking about the situation at centre-back, David. We've been talking about the Trent situation, and we've been just saying basically how happy we are about Virgil and Mo extending. Steve Alders, he said, Trent could have explained his thoughts and left with class. His silence has hurt him. Alan said, Craig, I think Trent will stay. I have very little optimism on that because of how strong Scousers have been feeling that he's going. So Cara feels he's going. Paddy Pimblett feels he's going. And I've not really come across many Scousers who think that there are too many signs that maybe he stays. But look, I guess until we get that official announcement, you know, you can't say anything's impossible. Ushin said, do I think the league secured? Yes, I do. Like 11 points, 7 games to go. West Ham and Leicester City the next 2 games. I think we should be getting 6 points from that. And yeah, absolutely. I think the league's done. But I want to see us do it in style and put last weekend's loss behind us and come out against West Ham and get a good result. Do you think Mo will break the assist record? 20, isn't it? Thierry Henry did 20 and 20, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yes, I do. That's one aspect of his game I've really enjoyed with Mo is seeing him add that to his bow. What else we got? Mo's announcement today, Virgil's tomorrow, said Jan. What an atmosphere it'll be at Anfield. I honestly can't tell you. I don't know when the announcement with the VVD is going to be. Haven't got a clue, in all honesty. I have no idea. I can tell you it's done. Like, I mean, we'll give you some words from some of the journalists on it. It's absolutely agreed. You've nothing to be concerned about. But as to when it actually happens, I don't know. Fabrizio Romano said Virgil van Dijk will sign his new deal at Liverpool, valid until June 2027 very soon. All details have been agreed and he'll put pen to paper before the end of the season. Then Paul Joyce said Salah has agreed a 2-year contract extension. It goes on to speak about Liverpool captain Virgil van Dijk will also extend his contract and will also sign for 2 years. But we don't know exactly when that signature is going to come. Braden said, are you more mad at Trent or Madrid? Because it feels like to me Trent has spat at the club and City the way he treated the situation. Definitely, I wouldn't say mad because I'm not that emotionally connected to Trent. I'm more disappointed in Trent. I expect Madrid to be scumbags. In all honesty, I mean, I expect nothing less from the club that talk about respect and yet don't seem to have any. From the club who pride themselves on winning 15 Champions Leagues but yet want to jib off the tournament to go start the Super League and still have the cheek to show up and talk about respect and not show up to collect trophies at a Ballon d'Or award ceremony because Vinicius Jr. didn't win it. I don't have high expectations of them. So, yeah, definitely just feel more disappointed with Trent than Madrid. I expect it from Madrid. Sunil said, I run a grassroots football academy in India for children. That is awesome, Sunil. Well done you. Craig, you've inspired me to start some online content podcast about future stars. Here to help inspire the next gen. Awesome. Do keep us up to date on your journey. And well done to you, helping the next generation of football talent get through. And you know what? What an untapped market India is. I mean, population of over 1 billion. No doubt the game is growing there. And I wonder how long it'll be before we get the first big Indian football star. And maybe he comes through your academy, Sunil. So fair play, my man. Proud of you. Well done. How much did Liverpool offer Trent? I don't know. I mean, I've seen reports of 300, but I don't know. But whatever it was, it doesn't seem to have been enough. But yeah, it's so disappointing. Like, I always had it in the back of my mind that there's a possibility Trent leaves the club. But I always thought that at least Liverpool would get a hefty transfer fee. And then people would have said, right, well, he's looked after the club. This just feels so snidey, the way it's happening. David said, now Mo has signed the contract, hope he gets his form back. Well, I tell you what, David, I've never been more confident of a man scoring a goal than I'm going to be about Mo this weekend. You can bet your ass I'll be sticking a little cheeky tenner on Mo to score. Yeah, and look, against opponents that so far this season we've played twice, scored 10, conceded 1 against. So, yeah, it's brilliant. And I'd imagine the atmosphere, anybody who's lucky enough to be going to Anfield on Sunday, I'd imagine the atmosphere is going to be incredible. A celebratory one as well. Knowing that our captain's about to sign his extension, knowing that the great man has signed his. I mean, absolutely top notch. Can't wait. Patrick said, now my nerves can rest a little. Salah verge staying. Adidas is back, hopefully with a great summer window. I'm buzzing for the new season. Yeah, I'm both buzzing and nervous about Adidas coming back. Buzzing because obviously it's right. It feels right. Nervous because I'm about to be broke. Honestly, I am. It's not even going to be pretty. Like my wife, I'm going to be sleeping on the sofa because all the Liverpool Adidas gear, I mean, I'm going to be head to toe, honestly. Full kit wanker all the time. Rory said, do you think Arne will bring in any Feyenoord players? Well, there was one that we spoke about last night. Let me just grab these notes from last night's stream. Yeah, so there was one that was mentioned by Caught Offside, and it said, according to Caught Offside, Arne Slot could be seeking reunion with one of his former Feyenoord stars by bringing them to Anfield. They go on to say that Igor Paxau has 14 goals and 13 assists in the Netherlands this year. Previously under Arne Slot, he made 81 Feyenoord appearances, scoring 21 and assisting 10. Napoli and Atalanta are also said to be in for the winger. That's the only kind of credible link to anything Feyenoord related that I'd seen. And I don't know much about Igor Paxau, but he's certainly been mentioned over the last week. Ushi and Craig should look into Cole, or FSG should look into Cole Palmer. It would be unaffordable, mate. He'd be astronomical money. And you know what? I don't want him at Liverpool. I mean, he hasn't kept up his form through this season. He's fallen off a cliff, second half of it. And he's just not a player that I think would suit the way we play. So I wouldn't have any interest in all honesty. Tammy, how are you, Tammy? Said, so happy with the news, Craig, today. If Trent left, which player would you think would be the vice captain? I would imagine Mo at this point. You know, it seems almost certain that Mohamed Salah will be the vice captain. For me, then, you're into the Alexis McAllister range. I think he's a future potential captain if he stays at Liverpool. Craig, how do you think Jurgen would have dealt with this Trent thing if he was still coach? I don't think he'd be happy with Trent stringing this out. Because remember why Jurgen's story came out when it did. He didn't want it leaking. He didn't want anybody else getting hold of it. He wanted to be the one to front up and announce that he was leaving and why. And that's why I had a lot more respect. Because Jurgen did the good thing, the decent thing, the right thing. Dealt with a very difficult situation with honesty, with integrity, and with sincerity. And that meant a lot to me as a fan. If anything, it endeared me even more to Jurgen. So I don't think he'd be happy seeing it play out the way it has. I don't know whether if Kloppo had stayed, Trent might have stayed. I've no idea. But, you know, the club ran the risk of this situation happening and they let his contract get run down. And it should have sounded warning bells very quickly when you're getting into 18 months to go and you're not getting an agreement. Really like Cherky, especially after his goal last night, said Mohammed. So ourselves and Borussia Dortmund have been the two teams I've seen most linked to Ryan Cherky. Apparently he was quite close in the last window to a move to Dortmund. You probably remember there was a bit of back and forth between John Textor, the Leon owner, or one of the Leon owners, and Borussia Dortmund. But I don't know whether we're still in that mix. Fermin Lopez is another name that's come in over the last day or two. Craig, with the potential of Cole Palmer going on a free, would you take him? Yeah, you take him on a free. But still, honestly, he just doesn't strike me as a Liverpool player, Cole Palmer. But he is a very good footballer. Just don't think it'd be a good fit for us. Patrick said, have you seen the beef between Matic and Onana? It's just embarrassing and hilarious. I'm thankful to God for Alisson and soon Mamardashvili. Onana, he's to blame. Onana, he's to blame. He's to blame. That should be the song, right? Because it's usually right. I loved it, to be honest. I love a bit of beef like that. It's old school, proper shithousery, and it worked. Okay, already having to remove some people in the chat who are on a wind-up. And this was the exact reason we had gone to member-only chat. So mods, do me a favour. If you see people like Usheen posting 1, 2, 3, 4 things again and leading questions that are obviously a wind-up, just boot them. I've no time anymore. Just boot the fuckers out. These people that pretend to be asking sincere questions but are clearly on a wind-up, we can see through them, and let's just remove them. A kid to get looks very good, could suit Arne Slot's style of play. He'd be the one I'd put my money on at the minute if I had to have a guess who we'd be bringing in. He'd certainly be where I'd be putting my money, but I couldn't say that with any level of certainty to you guys. Like, I don't know anything, but he's certainly the name. Him and João Pedro, statistically, are the ones that have ticked a lot of the boxes for Liverpool's data-led recruitment team. Other than that, I don't know. Gerrard should give a call to Trent. I'd say he probably has. I'd be very surprised if he hasn't. But look, I just think at this point, surely Trent has weighed up the pros and cons of it. And I want us to just be able to draw a line under it and know what's happening. Honestly, I do. But we're all tired of talking about it, really, aren't we? Mark Hindhaw, thank you, Mark. Appreciate your super chat, mate. What is the thing you dislike most about Slot as a coach so far? Great question, AJ. It's got to be the stubbornness not to give Chiesa and Elliott opportunities in games where we clearly need something different to happen. That stubbornness, which in one way I respect, because, you know, I like any coach that is very confident in their decision making, but I can't see the logic behind not trying, particularly Chiesa, when we're definitely struggling through the middle. Darwin and Jota haven't been doing anywhere near enough. And at least Fede looks like he wants to be there and is working hard and is trying to make stuff happen. So his ignoring of him and to a lesser extent Elliott throughout the season has probably been the thing that has frustrated me the most. But again, this is his first season, so I want the manager to start to build his own squad, and then I will certainly be a bit more open to any potential criticisms because he will have built the squad. But I hope there's no reason for us to be critical, right? I hope Arne is as successful, as we all want him to be. Jay Cliff said, Craig, Ori Barca's latest money worries. From Duncan, they're now on a 1-4 rate, meaning to buy Diaz, they need to raise 175. I don't think they're buying Diaz, in all honesty. I don't think that they have the money. And I read a piece as well that said Hansi Flick just doesn't want them. But on what you've said, I think they're going to be forced to sell some players this summer. And that's why I think the links to the players like Fermin Lopez may have some sense to them. Sunil said, would you take Isak for 100 to 120 mil if Edwards Hughes are able to negotiate much of a fee? I'd want it to be on the lower end of that, Sunil, but yes, I would. Like, Isak is brilliant, and we'd all love him, but 150 million is insanity. So yeah, if it was closer to the 100 part of that, Sunil, yes. Chances of Endo staying in our rotation next year. It will 100% be Endo's decision, what he wants to do. You can see that Arne Slot has spoken openly about the fact that Endo has won him over. Endo has shown his professionalism, his willingness to knuckle down and work. He comes on to close out games. That confidence in Endo hasn't really extended to being able to rotate him in for Ryan. But I think if he wants to go and search for first team football, the club will make that happen. But if Endo wants to stay, I think he'll stay. I agree. Elliott and Chiesa should have got more game time. I don't understand why he won't play them, said Lisa. Cal, how are you, mate? Thank you for your super chat. Craig, you'll remember me saying Trent staying, but if I'm wrong, sad to think the Scouse childhood prodigy won't be a club legend. Mo and Verge now are. I guess the question I'd have, Cal, is what makes you feel like he's going to stay, bro? Like, what indications have you gotten that Trent wants to stay? Because I would only add to the fact that if now Virgil and Mo are staying, if Trent was leaning to staying or wanted to stay, I can imagine this would all be done quickly, because what a great way to one, ease some concerns maybe that these guys would have had around the other ones, and knowing that the players are backing the manager. So I just don't really have much realistic expectation for Trent to stay. What about the Barcelona centre-back, Araujo? Reading links to him 100 mil. He has a release clause. You don't have to pay 100 million for Ronald Araujo. He has a release clause that I think is only active, I don't know if it's 10 or 15 days when the market opens, or maybe 10 or 15 days from the 1st of July. But there is a clause in his contract that will allow him to be sold for, I want to say about 70 million, but apologies if I'm off on the number. But there is a clause that exists, but it is for a very short window of time. Do you think with the signing of Mo and Virgil, it makes it easier for us now on the players we go for in the transfer market because they've both signed? Absolutely yes, mate. Absolutely. You know, if you're coming in, right, let's say Dean Huijsen as an example. If you're coming into Liverpool and you know you're going to get 2 years minimum to learn from and play alongside Virgil, that's got to be a big selling point. If you're a young forward coming into the club or a young winger, and you know you're going to get to train, play alongside Mohamed Salah, you know, and that's before we get into the other great players at the club. No doubt, mate, no doubt. And it also makes me feel way more optimistic as a fan going into the summer window, because it's nowhere near as daunting as it perhaps would have been if the spine of our team was gone. So, yeah, I totally believe, David, that it will be a positive aspect, because it also shows that if these players at this point of their careers are confident that Liverpool's where they want to be, that they believe in the project from the club, from the manager, they clearly believe that they're going to continue to challenge for trophies. And that, even on the outside again, would be a good sign to any incoming player. Think, well, these guys are sticking around, so there must be something good going on here. Who's ordering the Champions 20 jersey? Tom, I'll let you in on a secret. I'm not even messing, mate. I dropped 850 quid on a replica Premier League trophy. That's already ordered. So I'm fully on board, mate. That trophy's getting made at the moment and should be on its way. And I'm hoping to bring it over for these two shows. So I'm hoping that we can let people have a photo and all the other stuff with them at the 2 live shows. But I've already stuck my hand in the old company bank account there. That's how confident I am. But worst case scenario, I also have this one. So I've got my Ickle one. By the way, if anybody wants to treat themselves to one of these, I got that on Temu for like 8 quid or something. And it's pretty heavy and pretty decent. So yeah, can be little Premier League champions. And Connor's already promised me as well that if we win the European Cup again, we can order a full-size European Cup. Because I have a half-size Champions League trophy. Do you think Gomez leaves this year? I think one of Gomez and Kwanzaa may leave, Danielle. My fear, though, is the Canade situation. Because we can't let him get into the last year of his deal. So, you know, do you sell him this summer if there's no sign of a breakthrough, let's say, before the window opens, 1st of June? You know, if you don't have a breakthrough with Canada by then, you've got to sell, in my opinion, because you can't allow a player like him to go for free. And then if he sells, then what happens with Gomez? So the club can't leave themselves with too much to do, but I do think there will be some change in the centre-back department. I prefer Kudus all the way, but Cherky's a good player. I don't think Kudus is worth the money. What is it, 80, 85 million on his release clause? That again comes active this summer. I just don't think he's worth it. Can you show it when it arrives? Absolutely, mate. 100%. Here it is here, by the way. And just 1 second. There it is there. It's coming with, it's made of resin, not metal, so it'll be lighter to travel and stuff. But they're putting the red ribbons and all on it as well before they send it over. But it's a full size 77-inch trophy, and yeah, she should be over soon enough. But I thought it was very clever that it was made of resin and not the full metal one. Was like £2,500 sterling, as well as being really heavy. So for us, I want to be able to transport this to use on our live shows and more stage shows and stuff like that as a bit of a stage prop and, you know, for fun photos and stuff. So yeah, I'm buzzing. But I would have loved the metal one, but I don't have £2,500 sterling to pay for a metal replica. City's decision's been delayed. I know, David, we were talking about it yesterday. I think it was the Telegraph, was it? Or the Guardian? 1 second, mate. Let me just scroll back through my old newsy news. Where was it? Here we go. It was the Telegraph. Said exclusive announcement of the verdict has been mooted for the spring, but complexity of the case means it's not imminent. Verdict on Manchester City's 115 charges unlikely before the summer. And this annoys me because that means we're going to go into next season with an appeal then to start, and it'll go halfway through next year again, if not further, and then you're into the 8 years nearly of this crap, Dave. It's shocking, isn't it? Right, some super chats to catch up on. Dave said Madrid to get Trent. They say they got him as a free agent. Yep, and I'm telling you, Dave, as soon as he signed, you'll start hearing about how he was offered more money at Liverpool and all. I'm telling you, mate. Bookmark this and come back to it. There will be story after story about how hard he worked to get to Madrid and how he did everything Madrid asked him to. Romano's pretty much come out and said that previously, that as soon as he was told what he had to do and Madrid's plan, he agreed initially and immediately. Again, not my words, Romano's. Right, I have a favour to ask everybody really quickly. Can we get up to 1,000 likes? If you can, drop a like on the stream for me. First live one back with a chat open to everybody. The day Mohamed Salah signs his contract extension, we got to get up to 1,000 likes. So if you can, take 1 second, click, and help us out. Much love. Tom. Huijsen plays for Spain but is fluently Dutch. He represented the Netherlands under, I think, 16, 18, maybe under 20, and then made the switch. And I've read lots of stuff that Madrid don't have the money or don't want to pay 50 million for a 19-year-old. And I'll move on to give you a bit more on that in a moment, Tom. But yeah, he's a Spanish capped international, but he also represented the Netherlands underage. Monkstown Glass, it can't be 77-inch. Why? That's the size of it. That's what size it is. So it is. Right. Daniel said, your thoughts on Mamadashvili for next season? I'm unsure what to expect. Reports say that, they want to keep him on loan for another year, and they can fuck right off with that, by the way. But ultimately, if Alisson's staying, it's his job to convince the manager that he deserves a start. And look, if Alisson picks up an injury next year and Georgie gets a chance, then let's see what he's made of. I'm excited by it. I'm nervous by it. I'm still confused around the Kelleher situation. But, I'm open to Georgie doing well. Anyway, I promised you I would talk about that situation. Where is it? On Huijsen. Sorry, I just want to get my notes for you on this one. So, this report from Mario Cartagena, who covers Real Madrid, said, sources close to the situation say it's difficult to see Real Madrid spending £50 million for a 19-year-old. The expectation in Madrid is that Huijsen will join another Premier League club this summer. And if he joins another Premier League club this summer, surely it's the Reds. If you couple that with a couple of other reports, which I will read out to you now. This one from Alex Crook said Liverpool are interested in Dean Huijsen. They have held talks with his camp in the last week. We told you guys that yesterday, that those talks had started. They're also willing to trigger the £50 million release clause to do a deal. And a move to another club in the Prem fears the most likely outcome. So it's believed Huijsen's going to stay in the Prem and Liverpool willing to pay that release clause. Ben Jacob said Liverpool have Bournemouth's Dean Huijsen firmly on their radar, and should they succeed, he'll be viewed as the long-term left-sided centre-back option at the club. The 19-year-old, who's comfortable as a right-sided centre-back as well, could end up pairing with Virgil van Dijk if he joins, and he has a £50 million release clause. And then on top of that, we had Liverpool want another centre-back, regardless of VVD and Canade both commit their futures. So it looks like we're in the market for a centre-back one way or the other. And there was a bit from David Ornstein. He said Liverpool have strong interest in Dean Huijsen and they are firmly in the mix. Surely if you're him, the player, it makes sense to look at Liverpool and come in. Is there any other ones I missed? I've done the Mamadashvili. Sunil, let me get your comment up, sir. Are you confident of Bradley being first choice right back next season and beyond? We have Calvin Ramsey as backup, but should we dip into the transfer market with Trent leaving? So, should we dip into the market? 100% yes, because two reasons. One, Calvin Ramsey hasn't been able to stay fit and hasn't had a successful loan spell yet, so I still think he needs that. The only qualms I would have about Bradley is, again, is he going to pick up some injuries? So, you do need to bring in another right back, but what calibre of right back that's going to be, Sunil, is a good question. But either way, it's a good scenario, because I think Conor Bradley will be the starting right back next season, and deservedly so. But nothing wrong with having a bit of competition there, especially if Trent moves on. But I would imagine it won't be the likes of a Frimpong. I'd be very surprised if that. The guy Ratu from Rayo Vallecano was mentioned. Freiburg's right back was mentioned. There was one or two more who... Oh, the Flamenco right back Wesley, his name was mentioned as well. But yeah, I'm a huge Conor Bradley fan. It's just the injuries. I understand how anybody would be maybe a bit worried in him not being able to go through a whole season. But when he's fit, and I hope we get to see him on Sunday, which I think we will. You seen when he came on against Fulham, the difference he made to Mo and the difference he made to us. Just as a team, we look more on the front foot. Tom said Real Madrid didn't pay 50 million for Euro, buy Huijsen, sell Ibu. I feel confident that we're going to go for Huijsen, but I'm not sure whether the Ibu situation will be able to be resolved or not. I hope it will. I want Ibu to stay. I like Ibu, But, I've got to be honest and say at this moment it's definitely up in the air. Salah casually wearing $1 million watch in his signing video. Good. The only problem I had with that was that it was a blue watch, Jaden. And I get in trouble when I wear a blue Adidas t-shirt on the stream. So, it's a £1 million watch, fair enough. But could have been a red one, Mo. Come on. So, we asked, do you agree with Paddy Pimblett around the Trent situation? We've had 900 votes, so we'll leave it go till we get up to 1,000. If you can, do vote on this one for us. And of course, if you haven't dropped a like on the stream, please do. We'd love you to hit that button. We're at 664 at the minute. And we only need another 90 votes or so till we get to 1,000. And it seems most people agree with what Mr. Pimblett had to say. Now, I want to do a poll on the centre-back situation. So I'm going to ask who you think leaves. Because I don't know the answer to this one. Let me just end this poll. Because we've nearly had enough votes. Let me see, 920. Yeah, we'll end that. So 80% of people think that they agree with what Paddy Pimblett had to say about Trent being a turncoat, let's say. Right. Right, let me just put some names in here for you. Okay. Right. Around the centre-back situation, I want to ask you, who do you think leaves? Canade, Kwanzaa, Gomez, or none? Let me know by voting on that. Let me know what you think. Because I'm genuinely confused by the centre-back situation. Gomez is the sensible one to think, yeah, he may want to depart, get more first-team football. So that would be fairly self-explanatory. Kwanzaa, I'm unsure whether Arne truly rates him. And Canade, well, you throw in the contract situation there, and you've got uncertainty until he signs the new deal. And of course, the clock's ticking on that one. So lots of uncertainty that, again, I'm not a fan of. I like things being set in stone. Sunil said we should try to get 20 or 30 mil for Trent just so he can play in the Club World Cup. I don't think they need to give us the money. And I'll explain why, Sunil. So the Club World Cup starts on the 15th of June. So if Trent was to join Madrid early, then he'd be there for the group stage games. But honestly, they don't need him for the group stage games. So I think Madrid can still afford to let Trent's contract run down, let him sign on the 1st of July, and then go over and play in the knockout part of the Club World Cup when the competition really heats up. So yeah, I don't think they need to pay the money. I think Canade goes at Crimbo Slot. ISL29 UK said Arne is too annoying about playing players. Robert said, agreed, Craig. Gomez seems most likely to leave this summer. Almost moved a year ago. Colin said, can see all three leaving. That would just leave us so much work to get done in the window. Mikhail, how are you, my man? Said, Craig, knowing that Salah and Van Dijk stay, please tell us what you would like a realistic summer to look like. Left back in, Kirkes. Centre back in, Huijsen. And that's without selling anyone. If we move on another centre back, then I'd like another centre back. Who would I like? It depends on the price point, really. So, unsure. Jonathan Ta, interest there is definitely cool. I read that earlier on today. Into midfield, there is talk that we're going to bring in a midfielder. I think, was it Ian Doyle? I think it was Ian Doyle yesterday spoke about the fact that, Endo hasn't really won over Arne enough to get regular starts. So are we going to look at a midfielder? I'm open to that being by Cecic, but if Elliott moves, then I want somebody like Fermin Lopez. I don't know enough about Cherky to know if he'd be good enough or not. But again, another creative spark. Dream World, Florian Wirtz, but I don't think we have Florian Wirtz's money. And then after that, centre forward, ideally, I'd like Alvarez. Not going to happen. So after that, Hugo Ekitike looks likely. Cunha, I'm not really getting too many vibes around Cunha from people I've spoken with or what I've read. I think that's about it. Again, it's hard to answer these questions without knowing exactly who's leaving. Like, are we going to lose two central strikers in Jota and Darwin? Or are we going to lose a wide player like Diaz and Darwin? Or are we going to lose Diaz, Darwin and Chiesa? Are we going to lose one centre-back or no centre-backs? Are we going to lose three centre-backs? It's just lots of uncertainty in that regard that I can't really give you a good guess at a window. Again, Michael Murillo is just about to go into the Champions League with Nottingham Forest. You know, they're not going to want to let him go, are they? They're going to want to carry him into that competition, so can't see that happening. Mark Gay is possible. Huijsen is possible. I'm trying to think about... In some weird world, there might be a Levi Colwill possibility. And then you're looking to, I guess, Europe for other centre-back options. We don't get a right forward and push Salah at centre forward. I've always loved the idea of giving Mo a run through the centre, but I've not seen any desire to do so. Jarell Haddo, weirdly, he's been linked quite a bit with Madrid this week, and that would make a lot of sense to me because he'd be a good bit cheaper than Huijsen. He could cover a couple of positions, but then again, he's also been at Anfield as a guest of Ryan Gravenberch this season. So, yeah, Jarell Haddo is another more than credible name. Barella, he's not going to leave Inter, mate. And I think he's gotten a little bit too old now for someone to be spending huge money on. Well, for us to be spending huge money on. But what a player. Donal said, Craig and all the community miss being part of it. Love you, Craig, and love all the guys. Thank you, Donal. You guys are awesome. I love how you all look out for each other in the chat as well. It's awesome. Do you think there's any way we'll sign all three of Haddo, Huijsen and Kerkez? I mean, it's certainly possible, Tommy. Like, they're all realistic signings. And I feel very confident about the latter two on your list as being the ones that I think we're going to get. So, yeah, it's possible. If Konate wants to go to PSG, then we should do a deal for Beraldo in exchange. See, we've got very little leverage in this Konate situation. And this is what I've spoken about a lot of the time with our club, is we seem to let the leverage in these negotiations drift away. Because once Konate gets into his last year, then for us it's, well, he can happily sit there, play when needed and leave for free. So you either give in to him or, again, even selling him, you're not in the strongest of negotiating positions then. Because if he really wanted to move, let's say, to PSG, then they could just play the whole, well, we'll wait a year and get him for nothing. And Konate would just turn around and say, then, well, I'm not going to sign you a new deal. It's all easy for us fans to say, go and sell a player. But if a player doesn't want to be sold or thinks that there's a bigger pool of money by seeing out a contract, as we've seen many times, they'll take that route. You have to just ask yourself, how have we let this happen again? Like, we've gone through a whole season of the three boys and their situation. And we've known Konate was a deal in the background that needed to be done. And yet here we are again. Nothing happening. It's baffling. I mean, it can't be an oversight. They know about it. So what's the plan? I would love Doué at Liverpool. Oh, look, he's a great player, but he is, he's staying where he is in Paris, but great player. What are your thoughts on Justin Kluivert? I get the feeling that he's at a club that is getting the best out of him and that it wouldn't work at a club like Liverpool. That's my best attempt at an explanation of that situation. Zach said, hey Craig, it's great to see the normal chat on. How has it been? In the main, absolutely fine. Not really seeing any abusive comments, but there's been a few, how do you call them, false positives. People come in pretending to be asking sincere questions that are loaded questions meant to try and provoke a reaction. So I'm getting better at spotting them, but ultimately, man, it's great to have everybody back, and I'm delighted that people are in chatting and commenting again. Do I respect Chelsea? No, not particularly. The reason I don't respect Chelsea is down to the behaviour of their fans that I've witnessed firsthand. You know, I'm not even talking about the racist shit where, you know, there was the PSG fan member of the train and so. I'm talking about seeing them firsthand at a game at Anfield waving money in the air and singing about, you know, Scousers and bin dippers and all this other shit. So, no, because I would consider myself somebody with a very working class background who would be somebody who would be far more in tune with the beliefs of the Scousers in the city of Liverpool and that kind of Labour roots background than the kind of flash Harrys who think that they're better than other people, start waving fivers and tenors in the air. So, not for me. Now, again, all Chelsea fans aren't like that by any stretch, but they're a club that I don't really have much time for. Do you say Trent lasting in Madrid, considering how poor he's at defending? No, I don't. But we did ask this question last night. Would you take him back in a few years? And it was absolutely no. And I wouldn't want him back. You know, for me, you make this decision to leave, you've made your bed, go lie in it. But, nah, not for us. Right, so we asked, who do you think leaves? Konate, Kwanzaa, Gomez, or nobody? Keep voting away if you haven't. We've about 15 minutes left on tonight's stream. AP26 said, Dear Craig, I think Liverpool allow the contracts to get close to expiration so they get the most out of cheaper contracts before giving the pay rise. Yeah. Look, I don't even begin to pretend to understand fully the accounting side of football finance. You know, I have a basic grasp on amortization. I have a basic grasp on the understanding of it. But there's been so many bits of skullduggery and shenanigans pulled by football clubs around numbers and creative ways to get around accountancy that it's hard to even know as a fan anymore. Like, we constantly hear about our wage bill, right? And we're a club that have been playing Champions League football regularly, a club that have been winning trophies in recent years, a club that have brought in loads of commercial partners. And we're always hearing about our wage bill being part of the reason why we can't do business. And then you see Chelsea giving 6, 7, 8 year deals out, paying huge money for players. And I'm sitting here as a fan wondering, how? How is this possible without causing a load of problems? And clearly there's a way they're getting around it. So, you know, I don't understand it, but it feels like surely this shit has to catch up with them at some point. Like, they're being linked with £100 million moves for Rodrigo and stuff, and I'm just going, they spent 1.3 billion. Like, where are they getting this? Where's this wiggle room? And then you've the selling your hotels to yourself, selling the women's team to yourself. The whole thing just feels like a piss take, to be honest. Like, what's the point of FFP, PSR, if clubs are able to do this type of shit? You know, on one hand, we're being told, support the women's game, let's grow the women's game, more of it on TV, put more money into the game, put more eyes on the game. And then all of a sudden we're hearing that at the very first sign that some of these clubs have any financial issues, Chelsea are selling the women's team and Villa are thinking of selling the women's team. So what one is it? Are we building up the women's game? Do you want people behind the women's game? Or is it at the first sign of not being able to fund the men's team enough, let's flog the women's team? And also, how do you value that properly? Because I don't remember too many women's clubs being sold and traded. So how do you get a fair valuation? You know, I've seen some reports to say women's team, Chelsea women's team, worth £200 million. Well, fucking Everton, we're going for about 300 million, and I know which one's bigger. I don't understand some of it. It all feels obnoxious, devious, and underhanded. A couple of super chats I've missed. Let me go through it. David said, I like Eze of Palace. Good player. One that has been linked a little bit to us, David, but again, Palace aren't going to want to be rinsed of all of their top talent. They're probably going to lose Mark A because of his contract situation. So yeah, I don't know about Eze. This one was, hey Craig, would you take Hayden Hackney from Borough? Well, himself and the youngster from Sunderland, whose name I can't remember, the young winger at Sunderland, what's his fucking name? Somebody will know it in the chat. They're going to be destined for big moves. Just a matter of when and who pumps up the money. But Hayden Hackney looks like a wonderful, wonderful footballer. So, Chris Rigg, is that the guy's name at Sunderland? Chris Rigg, yeah. They're two names to definitely keep an eye on. Sunil said, I was in Belfast last year and absolutely loved it. Brought a fridge magnet back, but it was scary with the Stockport stabbings and there was areas that were unsafe. Would love to visit Ireland again, but how is the situation now? I'm confused, Sunil, because how is Belfast and Stockport linked in this scenario? Yeah, I don't understand that link. Is it safe to visit Ireland again? Well, like any country, mate, there will be some areas that you'd be concerned about if you visited. But, you know, I would always say you should feel safe in Ireland if you're here, be it north or south. Yeah. And look, Ireland's a beautiful country. And my advice to people would be stay away from Dublin, because I don't think there's any value in Dublin as a destination anymore. I don't think there's value in the hotels. I don't think there's value in social life. I don't think there's value in the nightlife. I would say get yourself to Wexford, get yourself to Belfast, get yourself over to Cork, get yourself to Galway. But yeah, of course, mate, it's a beautiful country and I'm sure we'd love to have you back over. Mike Lucas said, I'm surprised people aren't talking about DIJK. He's our boy in Cook last season. I've always been told that we're selling him. And I asked this question to a couple of journalists about 6 months ago. And the answer shocked me because I assumed that he was going to be an option for the future. But it felt as if the decision had already been made that DIJK is going to be sold. And Everton have been rumoured to be interested at about 30 to 40 million quid. So, yeah, look, it's a good show. Ben DIJK certainly is a talent, but I can only tell you what I've heard. And what I've heard is that there was never really any thought to do anything other than sell him. Lewis said maybe he meant the stabbings in Southport. I'm sure he did, but again, I know a load of people from Southport and I would never judge any city. Like, every city has incidents that happen and they're tragic and nobody wants them to happen. But it doesn't speak to the great people of Southport, or, you know, it shouldn't be all you think about with these places. Don't allow the lowlifes, the negativity, to belittle what is a great city with great people who I'm sure will show you a wonderful time. You know, let's be honest about life. Every city has issues. Every city has antisocial behaviour. But 99% of people are good people. Craig, are you happy with Salah staying, or you wish you got someone younger? No, I'm delighted, Jeremy. I'm delighted that he's staying, mate. It does give us time now to really succession plan properly. And I wonder, are we going to see Rio maybe make the pathway through over the next couple of years? But yeah, I'm delighted. It's brilliant news. Would you rather Ekitika or Delap? The first one. Because Delap feels like still a bit of a punt. And I would love him as part of a revamp of our attack, but as the secondary option. So if we sold Jota and Darwin, I'd love the likes of a Delap and a Hugo Ekitika coming in. I think that would make sense. Do you see Trent lasting in Madrid? No, Natty, I don't. Not at all. You know, I think my guess here would be as soon as he starts making a mistake or two, or he's not tracking back, or his defending comes into question, the white handkerchiefs will be out, the Danny Carvajal shouts will be out. and he'll be absolutely rinsed in the media relentlessly. But again, he can't not be aware of that. He can't not be aware of how vicious it can be. You know, if you think Liverpool fans have been bad on occasion, or, I mean, different level. Different level. What's this? Fabrizio Romano said Luis Diaz and Jarell Quansah situations remain open. Liverpool yet to make final decisions on their futures. That's kind of... Am I psychic? That's obviously a rhetorical question. I mentioned that to you guys the other day about Quansah. I just have a feeling Arne Slot's not convinced. And Diaz situation, I don't know what the hell is going on. But Quansah, I just have a sneaky feeling that if the right offer came in, we'd listen to it. Right, so we are nearly up on the voting, so please do keep voting away. We're 730 odd votes in. We asked, which centre-back do you think leaves? Canade, Quansah, Gomez, or none? And honestly, I would be amazed if none of them left. I think one, maybe two. Oh, I ended that one by accident with my stupid fat fingers. Sorry. Craig, basically, the Stockport horror triggered reactions in Belfast as many other areas in the UK. I was just so scared. Anyway, hope it's better now and would love to visit again. Where do you have events in Ireland? By events, you mean air shows? I probably won't be doing too many, to be honest, in Ireland. Especially not in Dublin, as it's too expensive to rent a venue. Belfast we did in... No, where were we in Belfast? March, I think we were in Belfast. But mate, come to Ireland. Honestly, beautiful place. Belfast, as you've mentioned. I was in Liverpool, actually, when there were some protests in Liverpool city centre. And we had a show the next day. And Connor actually got caught up in it. He drove down the street to get towards Liverpool 1 and had to turn around because the march was coming towards them. But again, it would never deter me visiting somewhere, because I know that they aren't the people of Liverpool that are doing these stupid, senseless things. The Liverpool Prophet said, can't lie, Craig, I liked Quansah until I saw he was doing weird shit off the pitch, Astrid wet and messaging the underage girl. Look, I don't really give a damn what people do with their private lives, to be honest with you. But I've also never been fully convinced by him this season. Last season, looked the business, looked mint. This season, he looked a little bit all over the place. And if 40 or 50 million got put down on the table, I'd listen. Colzer said, do you think Delap will be like Danny Ings, great at Burnley before he came to us? No. I think Delap's the real deal. I don't know if he'll ever be a 30 goal a season man, but I honestly do feel like he is the real deal. He's got everything. He's got pace, aerial ability, the ability to attack the lines, the ability to get in behind, bully defenders. Honestly, I think he's a good player. I'm not there yet to say he'd be able to lead our line as the guy, but I'd be more than open to him coming in. And on Danny Ings, actually, I think he was just really unlucky with injuries, because he's a quality finisher, Ings, and I think injuries have kind of curtailed his career. Do you think we should sign Feyenoord's Igor Paxiao? We've been linked with him. Miracle Izzy Boot. We've been linked. I was talking about him last night on one of the late videos. I'll read it out to you again now. Just bear with me 1 second. So this story from Caught Offside said, Arne Slot could be seeking a reunion with one of his former Feyenoord stars by bringing them to Anfield. What's more, it may take a battle in the market with big rivals Arsenal. Both clubs are said to hold an interest in Brazilian Igor Paxiao, who has 14 goals and 13 assists in the Netherlands this year. Previously, under Slot, he'd managed 81 Feyenoord appearances, scoring 21 and assisting 10. Napoli and Atalanta are also said to be in for the winger. That's the only real kind of links that I've seen. Dear Craigo, who do you think replaces Diaz? Oh, God, mate. You know what? I'm going to be honest and say I haven't got a Scooby. I'd love it to be somebody like Nico Williams, but I don't think that'll happen. Good question. Please ask the chat. Chat, help a brother out here. Let me know what's going on and who's going to replace him if we lose Diaz. Who do you think is the likely one to come in? Because it's an interesting situation. Right now, I feel we've got 2 first-choice left wingers. So, yeah, let me know. Right, what else we got? A quick reminder, again, I'm so excited about these shows. We have 2 shows coming up. The one on the left is the end of season show. It's the last day of the season. We're going to be at the venue. They're going to show the game. I'll host my watch-along elsewhere. I'll probably be interviewing a former player on stage in the main area of the venue, not the ticketed part. Then we have a show that night. And on the Wednesday, May 28th, myself, Chris, Connor, Steve and Jack will all be together for an Anfield Agenda reunion show with my family. Will be there as well. My wife, my daughter are coming over. So if you want to come and see us for either of those shows, you can get your tickets with the QR code on the screen. And thank you to everyone that's got them already. I'm really excited to come over and say hi again. What else have we got? What about Barella? He's getting too old at this point for anyone to stump up the type of dough that it would take to get him out. What is Barella now? 27, 28, something like that? Great player, though. Jamie Bino Gittins is another one linked to Liverpool. Yeah, but I don't get the feeling that he's the type of player Michael Edwards would be looking to, because he's too high profile, if that makes any sense. So, obviously he's a talent. His price tag seemingly has gone down quite a bit because of his form in the second half of the season. There's a couple of reports in Germany that said they wanted €100 million at one point. Now there's talk of about €60 million. And truthfully, I don't know if he's worth that money or not. But he doesn't strike me as somebody who Michael Edwards would think there's value therein. Or he's too high profile for us to get a deal or a good deal on. Is Dave O.C. cop washed? I've never really known much about that man, to be honest with you. So it's not really for me to say. I've never really had too many dealings with him. Don't know anyone that has worked with him. So I know he was pulled up on something with James Pearce today. I think about the announcement timing of Virgil's deal or something. But I don't know the man, so it's really not fair for me to speak about him. My mate Paul owns the comedy club in Liverpool. Are you going, Craig? I'm going with my missus, looking forward to it. I speak with Paul most days via email, Mike. Really nice fella. It's actually emailing him today, believe it or not, about the trophy. You know, I was letting him know I'm hoping to bring the trophy over with us. Paul Blair, I believe you're probably talking about. Yeah, absolute gent. You know, Hot Water Comedy Club is our home in Liverpool, and it will always be our home in Liverpool because they make us feel so welcome, and the staff are always lovely, and the venue is absolutely amazing. But Paul, they've done an incredible job. You know, I've seen the stages of Blackstock Market being redone all the way through, and every time I go back there, like this weekend, they're opening the rooftop bar. So, you know, I wish everybody at the venue the best of luck with that. I'm sure it'll be a roaring success. But yeah, man, class venue. And, you know, every time I go to Liverpool, even as just a visitor, I go to the Hot Water Comedy Club. I love it. Would you take Adeyemi from Dortmund? No, I don't. I don't think he's good enough. Sorry, I wouldn't. I don't think he's good enough. Yeah, and I didn't like his weird attitude as well against Barca. Like, he was almost sent off in the first half for stupid stuff. He feels, and I don't know him, but he kind of gives the air that he might have a bit of an ego or something. But no, not for me. What will I do over the weekend? I'll be working tomorrow night, late night agenda, watch along Sunday, match reaction, player ratings, late night agenda Sunday night. Yeah, work. Curtis said, hi mate, I'd love Chiesa to stay and play as a second left winger if Diaz goes, but I feel we'll ship him back off to Italy for a profit. Yeah, I'll never really understand what's gone on there. Because we all want Chiesa to do well. We all want him to be given chances. But Arne Slot seems very stubborn in the fact that he doesn't want to play him. So, I guess it is what it is. Right, ladies and gents, I'm going to go and say goodnight. I'm going to record the news video now that will give you a recap of everything we spoke about, as well as stories on Mamardashvili. We're going to be speaking about Kanade, Kwanzaa, Huijsen. So yeah, loads to go through. So keep an eye out for that video. It'll be out in the next 15 minutes or so. Thank you, everybody back in again tonight. Do appreciate you being with us. Yeah, appreciate you all. Thank you. Drop a like for me if you can, please, before you head off. And again, welcome back, chat. It's great to have you all in. And thank you for such a cool night again. Much love, my friends. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.